Hey everybody, welcome out to the From the Earth Educational Garden. Today we're out here in the high tunnel and just kind of want to explain a little bit about what this structure is and how we got it here. So we built this structure in the fall of 2019 with help from grant funds through the NRCS, which is the Natural Resource Conservation Service. They have a program called EQIP, and through that program in particular, they help farmers address resource concerns. So, living here in north central Wisconsin, a huge resource concern is our short growing season. Typically, our average last frost date is in the middle to the end of May, and our first frost date is typically somewhere between the middle of September to the beginning of October, which means that we have a pretty short growing season here. So one way that we're able to extend our growing season is with the help of a seasonal high tunnel. This structure can be thought of really similar to like a 3 seasons room on your house. You can see the curtains on the sides, they roll up, we can shut the doors, and really use the sun to help bring some extra heat and hold the heat in here, even through a couple of frosty nights. And it's really our hope that we'll be able to keep some cold tolerant vegetables growing in here through maybe December for sure, possibly January. It really just depends on the growing season. Out here, our original plan for this high tunnel was to have this thing filled with tomatoes and cucumbers for the 2020 growing season. However, due to COVID-19, we weren't able to get in here and plant right away. When I came back to work at the end of May, there were weeds about up to my waist. And this area was really quite a disaster zone. So we had to think about how we were going to take care of that problem. So what we ended up doing was just coming in here with a mower, mowing down the weeds, and then we put these black tarps, black and blue tarps down to help sort of suppress some of those weeds. We left those tarps on for about a month, and when we pulled those tarps off, all of the weeds, most of the weeds underneath them were dead or definitely stunted due to the lack of sunlight. So, knowing that this structure is best utilized to help us extend some of those growing seasons, we really wanted to plant crops in here and do a few experiments since we had the space this fall. So it is the end of July right now. About a week ago, we came in and planted a couple of rows of peas. We also transplanted some things like broccoli and cabbage, and we also are going to continue transplanting broccoli for about another 2 weeks just to help also extend that growing season. Some of the other things that we did in here, just as sort of an experiment, was, planted a late patch of cucumbers and also a couple of different varieties of squash. Since we have the space and we're really excited to see how it can sort of do to extend that growing season throughout the fall. We still have a little bit of empty space in the middle of this structure that we plan on planting in carrots and spinach as we continue on later into the fall. Right now we're still planting some of these specific crops outside because they are pretty cold tolerant, and we want to make sure that we're utilizing this structure as much as possible. So allowing just some extra time in this middle section here for those weeds to really be suppressed. And we'll come back and plant probably in the middle of August or so to do some of those crops. So my hope is to just see how long we can extend this growing season and see how long we can keep things going in here. This is my first time working in a high tunnel, so it'll be really exciting to see how our crops go and survive through the fall and winter when they wouldn't be surviving outside. This particular structure we bought as part of a kit from a company called Zimmerman's High Tunnels. There are a number of companies that you could go through for the price and the quality of the structure. It was what we went through. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to shoot us a message if you want any more information or want to hear specifically about our experience. We also worked with a contractor to help us build this structure. I am not a building expert by any stretch of the imagination, so I knew I was going to need some help to come out here and build it. So he came in. We also had a crew of other people, helpers come in, from the environmental department and some other departments who were willing to come out and just lend a helping hand as we put this structure up. So it was really a community effort, which was fun. But I would think, if we build another maybe 1 or 2 of these in the future, if we have enough expertise on staff, we might not need to go with a contractor to help us build this again. But he was really helpful in just knowing the different tips and tricks and how to put the pieces together in the right order to really help us build this structure and do what we needed to do. So I'm excited to see how it goes throughout the fall, and we'll touch base again, hopefully later on in the season, so that way you can see what's all happening